handicap. I'm gonna get it, buddy. I'm going out the gate right this moment. I'm going out the gate right this moment. Can I touch you? Oh yeah, buddy. Yes, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. That's a good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. Today we're going to be planting our broccoli and our cauliflower into the garden. We've got some into the greenhouse, and now today we're going to be planting it into the garden. Hey guys, today we're going to be planting our brassicas. We're going to be planting broccoli and cauliflower. I've been waiting for these plants to get into the ground, and I'm going to show you how to plant these broccoli and cauliflower and the nutrients I'm going to be using to help with their plant growth and health. So many people compliment me onto my garden area because it looks so healthy and green and it produces a lot. So I'm going to show you today how I'm going to be planting these broccoli and cauliflower, the nutrients that I'm going to be using. We're going to be using a 511. It's a slow release fertilizer. It's organic. We're also going to be using the blood meal, and then we're going to be using the organic vegetable and tomatoes, which is 356. I've got a little bit of bone meal that's left. I forgot to order it, and I used the rest of it up, so we're going to be using that. And we got 13, 13, 13. And one of the main nutrients that I definitely use is garden lime. So this garden area has been amended probably about 6 weeks ago. And so we've got our row made, and now what I'm going to be doing is just making my little holes to be able to put these vegetables into the ground. So the garden area has been tilled up, and I'm at the place of making rows. And what I like to do is just make the rows when I need them, so I don't overwork myself because of the area of this garden stretch here. So you see that I got the row made up. This garden area has been amended. It was amended about 6 weeks ago. But even though it's been amended, it's been amended with 13, 13, 13 and garden lime. So I didn't put any cow manure, horse manure, but one thing is because of the hay, I want to make sure that I don't have chemicals like that could be going into the hay, going into my soil. These days and time, you have to be very careful of that because of grazon. So here I've got my row, and then now all I got to do is make my holes. But what I like to do, and then put my fertilizer in, make my holes. But what I like to do is, of course, there's a chicken manure in here and shavings throughout the fall and winter time. And I do the rows pretty much 1 or 2 at a time. And then I go across the stretch of the garden area. So this right here is now all I got to do is come in here, and I like to place my plants basically the space that I want them. And then I dig my little hole, I put my fertilizer in there, and then I put some soil on top of it, and then I plant my plant. Especially if you're using something like 8, 8, 8, 10, 10, 10, 13, 13, 13, you want to make sure that your plant's roots is not touching the fertilizer because it'll burn it. Now the organic matter here, it takes a while to break down. So the reason I like to use 13, 13, 13 or 8, 8, 8 or 10, 10, 10, whatever I have, is for the fact that the organic matter takes a while to break down. And it might take 2 or 3 months. Usually I get good, fast results, but it's organic. And so then when I feel like maybe the 13, 13, 13 has maybe washed away with all the rains, it depends on how much rain we gotten, but then the organic matter kicks in. And so the organic matter is great. It's all these fertilizers has the NPK. So a lot of people don't know what the NPK means. It's those 3 numbers right there on the back. It reads you what the nitrogen, phosphate, and potash is. Now, this is major nutrients for the growth of the plant and the health of the plant. It replaces nutrients into the ground or into the soil that maybe the ground does not have or lacks into. So it's always good to do a pH test when you're doing your garden area or before your garden area, so you'll know exactly what to put into the soil. But even if you don't do a pH test, a lot of people say that I've got a meter and I stick it in the ground, that helps me out. But just adding these nutrients, to your soil is going to help you to know that your plants are getting the right nutrients. Okay, so let's get started. So one of the things I like to do is space my plants out. These are definitely need to get into the ground, and I'm going to space them about 12, 14, 18. You can go up to 24 inches, but I like to space them close so I can get all the ground using that I can get into my garden area. And then if the leaves get in the way with one another, I'll just break some of those leaves off and it does perfectly fine. So I will say this is probably about 14 inches. That's giving it enough growth for the leaves to not run into each other. And I just go all the way down the garden area, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Plants don't care. They will actually move out of the way from one another. So if this one is too close, then this plant right here is going to move its leaves over this way, and this one's going to move it over this way, and they might butt side by side, but they'll do just fine. So now I'm going to go down and lay my plants. This is broccoli and cauliflower. It's a variety, and I didn't label every one of them, so I don't know which is which, but it's all perfectly fine because I usually plant my broccoli and my cauliflower into the rows. So I'm going to go and lay these out so that I'll know exactly how many plants I'm going to have, and I'll know also that how many plants I'm going to have and how far these plants are going to go. I always like to know that, and it just helps me out. It makes it faster, so I can be grabbing one, moving. I just go ahead and lay it out, get my fertilizer, get it close to me, and then dig my hole, put the fertilizer in there, put some soil on there, and on top of that fertilizer, and then plant my plant and cover it up, get the air pockets out, and then water. Always water. Now I like to do this late in the afternoon, but I was watching the weather last night to make sure that we didn't get a really cool snap, and so you can see the size of these plants. Usually I already have them into the ground, but we would just want to make sure this year that we didn't get a cool snap. I got a lot more broccoli into the greenhouse and into raised beds, and now we're going to be planting into this garden, and you're going to watch these grow throughout the summer, or should I say spring. It just depends on how fast they grow. All right, so we've got them in our spacing here into our row. And I like doing it this way so I don't have to look and fumble and and kind of see, well, where do I need to go next. This is really fast and easy. I just lay it there where I want to plant it at, take a look at it. If I need to make adjustments, I can make adjustments. It's not a big deal. I'll just pick it up and move it over. These are probably about 18 inches apart or so. About 18 inches. So you see I've got my fertilizer sitting here close by me. Usually I'll have another bucket, have all this sitting in there and just move the bucket down. But I've already got one bucket that's a little bit more lime than I really need at this point in time. But I just dig my hole. You see, I'm going to be going down. I'm not sure, I haven't took one of these out to see how far this root system has gone down. But either which way, the soil that's in here, I took and put in Miracle Grow last night and watered them. And so they've been sitting overnight. I watered them yesterday afternoon with the Miracle Grow. So they've been sitting in this cup. So this soil that's in here has got some nutrients into it. Now I like Miracle Grow. I like to definitely give it some before I plant them. It's got the NPK. And so you know that all this dirt is just going to spread out. So I basically judge it like that. If I need to, when I take it out, if I need to dig a little bit deeper, I can. But we also got to consider the NPK here of the 13-13-13 because of the nitrogen. Nitrogen gives good green leaves and creates green leaf growth. So what I like to do also is, and you see these little leaves right here, I'll either cut them off or cover that up. That's kind of going to be my guide on how deep I'm going to plant this plant right here. Because those leaves right there are not suiting any purpose. They are the first leaves that a plant puts out when it becomes seedlings. So starting off, because I haven't done this yet, oh wow, so it's got, on this side it's got some good root growth. On this side it really looks good. I'm trying to get it around without damaging the plant, moving it too much. So the roots are already starting to come to the bottom. So it's not overpacked, it's not wrapped around, it's a perfect time for planting. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to dig just a little bit deeper. Not much, because I'm thinking about that 13-13-13 is what I'm thinking about. So with the 13-13-13, I'm not going to add that much because this is a little plant, so you don't need that much. The soil has been amended. I'm just going to put a little bit in there, just a little bit. Maybe, it's not even a tablespoon. I'm going to put some dirt over that so that it'll have the dirt there as these roots reaching down and hitting that fertilizer. Then the avenue of putting your fertilizer in doesn't make any difference. This is the 511, the slow release. It's a natural source of nutrients. And this, since it's slow release, a natural source of nutrients, and I put probably less than a tablespoon. Here's the blood meal. Blood meal, I never have any problem with it. It's looks like that. So that's probably about a tablespoon. Move that over. Now this is the vegetable and tomato, excuse me. This is organic vegetable and tomato food. It's 3, 5, 6. And you might think that this is a lot, but mind you that every one of these fertilizers is going to break down differently. The blood meal is very fine. This is granular. And so I am just going to put probably not even quite a tablespoon in there. Now the reason I'm only putting that amount is because I just want to make sure that you know, nothing is 100% guarantee, right? So I just want to make sure that my plants don't get burned or get too much. So this is about the same, probably less than a tablespoon. This is good. This is good for the plant health and the root system. So I love the blood meal. Good for nitrogen. That's the nitrogen. It's going to create these leaves to pop and grow, and then the bone meal is going to get help with that root system. So one of the things I want to be sure to add, and this never matters, is this garden lime. Now they come in fast acting or they come into powder. I like the powder, it's more controllable. The fast acting is like if you forgot to put it in, or maybe you see that your plant needs it, maybe for blossom end rot. So this is very good for blossom end rot. I haven't had blossom end rot for years. So knock on wood, as they say. Maybe I won't. Now I like to put a little bit of soil over that, not much, but just a little bit of soil, so that when these roots reach down into the soil, it's just not hitting the fertilizer, it's hitting that soil. So we're gently going to take this out. You can see how wet it is. You can see the roots there. So it's growing really good. And we're going to set it down in there, in that hole. So that's perfect. Then we're going to lift this plant up, give it a helping hand, because it's growing faster than, well, like I said, usually I already have it in the ground. And we're going to mash it down, put that soil to soil contact, cover those first leaves up. Now, what I like to do before I move to the next plant is, because you got to water it. You want to go ahead and water it. Now, I could leave these like this, but if I was, say, in the afternoon, it'd be one thing, but we've got a day ahead of us. And so the day is just beginning. And so I like to make a little mound here, so that when I pour the water in, it's not going all over the place, and then stays into this little circle here to help the water to get down there into the soil to make it moist. That leaf didn't get covered up. I'm just going to pop it off. I'm looking at this and I'm like, a little bit later, this leaf is holding, it's over, and it's probably gonna make this plant go that way. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and take it off. Because it's been making this plant grow crooked, and maybe I should have took it off, but I just decided to wait on that. So now once this gets watered, then the soil is going to settle down, and it's still going to run some, but this always put like a little valley, what I call a valley, right here, so that water go down and not spread everywhere. So we'll do the same thing to this one right here. We're going to dig down. Usually my little shovel gives me the length of this soil here. Now I've noticed that this dirt is not dried out. We're getting rain Sunday. Today is Thursday. So that's my length, and that's my length. So that's just about right. But considering I'm putting 13, 13, 13 in here, I'm going to go just a little bit deeper, because this is definitely going to grow, and the roots are going to grow and reach down and get the nutrients. So I'm going to start out with this 13, 13, 13. Probably about a half a tablespoon. Okay, so I'm going to cover that up just a little bit. And you don't have to follow just these guidelines, but this is how I like to do it. So the blood meal, probably about a tablespoon. The organic matter of the vegetable and tomato, 3, 5, 6, probably a little less than a tablespoon. This stuff stinks to high heaven. Then we're going to add this 511. Remember that this is organic, and it's slow releasing, and it breaks down with time. And every one will break down, depending on the weather, depending on the rains, it will break down on its individual. This is bone meal, probably about a tablespoon. And then we're going to add this garden lime right here. And I just grab a handful because I want this into my soil. Now this cup is, the length is shorter. I get these at Lowe's and they're free. If I buy a plant, which I very seldom do, then I save my cups. But I look for these at Lowe's and pick them up, and they never say anything to me, and they're perfect for up-potting your plants. So this one's got a good root system. They could stay in here, if you can see that. They could stay in here a couple more weeks, actually. But I want them to get into this ground here, especially with the rain that's coming. I mash it down to get out the air pockets, to make it soil-to-soil contact, make my little valley here. Now sometimes I have my heels a lot higher, so it's really easy to get down in there. But as these plants grow, then I'll be taking my hoe and pushing this heel up more so that when the roots are spreading out somewhat, and the moisture, it will hold, to me it holds more moisture. A lot of people say that the winds are dried out if you have a big heel, but you know, considering the weather, at times we can get a lot of rain, and then if you have it too low, you can literally drown your plants. But usually I have a bigger mound here, a bigger row here, but this year I just went a little bit differently, and because I believe we're going to have a very hot summer, that maybe this will help out with the moisture content. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue going down here and planting these. Now usually I have my water right here, and I'll go ahead and water. But my soil is wet, so the plants will be okay. It's cool out here. It's probably about 60, reaching 60, early in the morning. Really like to plant into the afternoon, but it's not hot here. And it's going to be cool for this week. Put a little bit of 1313 in there. $355, $511, bone meal, blood meal, a little bit of soil. Take my plant. I don't like how this one's looking, but maybe it'll straighten up as it sits out here into this garden area. If they're leaning over, I'll try to push the soil up against the plant to help hold it straight until it gets itself together. And then we'll have these planted. And this is how I plant broccoli and cauliflower. Before I move any further, I decided to go ahead and get some water to show you. I just got some bubbles in it because I had put the Miracle Growth in this container yesterday. And when the water runs, I just take and put some more dirt around it, because it will run if you don't have this little valley, what I call a valley. Break that little leaf off of there. Once the plants grow, then I don't no longer need this little valley here. It just makes it faster when I'm trying to water it. And that's it. This plant is a little bit bigger. And these Dixie cups are very cheap. I put holes on the side. Yeah, so the water can drain out. And I drill holes into the bottom. Can't really see it, but there's a hole there. A couple holes, about 2 or 3 holes. It really is a lot easier if my plants wasn't as big. But I don't want to plant them too deep either. Now, if your plant suffers transplant shock, which is what happened right there from it falling over when I was trying to put it in here, and it shocked those roots, it'll bounce back. Most of the time, say 98% of the time, they'll bounce back. It just needs a little time. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, how to plant broccoli and cauliflower. I also went around my plants. Not only did I make the little valley, but I pushed dirt around it. So in the future, when that dirt settles, I'll still have that little valley there to hold my water. I'll see you on to the next video. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the comments, and have a wonderful, blessed day. So these are the brassicas, the broccoli and the cauliflower that's planted, I believe, 4 days ago. And we just had a lightning thunderstorm last night, so they got hours worth of rain. And so this is the next morning, and I walked out here to see what they look like, and they've already jumped. They're looking really good.